Emily Rand, Jacob Wolf, and Arda Ocal for ESPN Esports. It has been made official that Evo 2020 will be canceled. Here is an official statement posted by Evo on their official Twitter account. I will read it now. Over the last 24 hours, in response to serious allegations recently made public on Twitter, we have made the first of a series of important decisions regarding the future of our company. Effective immediately, Joey Queller, Mr. Wizard, will no longer be involved with Evo in any capacity. We are currently working towards his complete separation from the company and have relieved him of all of his responsibilities. Going forward, Tony Cannon will act as CEO. In this position, he will take a leadership role in prioritizing greater accountability across Evo, both internally and at our events. Progress doesn't happen overnight, or without the bravery of those who speak up against misconduct and injustice. We are shocked and saddened by these events, but we are listening and committed to making every change that will be necessary in making Evo a better model for the stronger, safer culture we all seek. As a result, we will be canceling Evo Online and will work to issue refunds for all players who chose to purchase a badge. We will donate the equivalent of the proceeds as promised to Project Hope. Major news that was developing throughout the day through many of the announcements that we saw on Twitter regarding developers and personnel. Emily, what did you see from the developer side?
So once the allegations came out after some of the players, like high-profile players and commentators had stepped down, we saw teams starting to step down, and then the individual developers came forward. So Capcom, who people may know has Street Fighter, NetherRealm, who has Mortal Kombat, Bandai, who has both Dragon Ball Z Fighters and Tekken, all came forward and said they would no longer be participating. The only two games that have been announced for Evo Online that didn't come forward were Microsoft Game Studios with Killer Instinct and Lab Zero with Skullgirls, and they're dealing with their own sexual harassment and assault allegations as well. So that it was kind of in the we knew it was coming almost, right? Because all of these announcements had been trickling down during the day, and once teams started to announce that they were withdrawing, then the game developers stepped in and they're like, we are withdrawing as well. So it got to the point where they were really only going to have a few games left if they decided to hold it. And it also got to a point where it would have been considered extremely crass and callous to hold it as well.
Jacob, after the allegations made against Joey Queller, we also saw a lot of personnel involved with Evo dropping out, and before they were even announced as part of the tournament, saying that they will not want to participate.
Yeah, so Sonic Fox is probably most known among these. They came out and said that they were not going to participate in this event any longer. You know, Sonic Fox, they're really the best Mortal Kombat player of all time, so not having them involved in the tournament is a huge deal. There were others as well. Equinox Gaming, which is an esports team that houses a lot of fighting game players. Brutal Democracy, another esports team with a lot of fighting game players, said that they would not participate. And this has really just been like the part of this like greater movement, right? That's happening right now in all of esports and gaming in general. I mean, there's been more than 200 allegations in the past 3 weeks that's happening against powerful people within the esports industry, both men and women. I mean, in the past 24 to 36 hours alone, there have been a lot in Super Smash Brothers and other fighting games too that it's just really stunning. I think that a lot of us are sort of taken aback by this from an Evo perspective. Like Emily said, like it would have been really crass and really uncomfortable, I think, for it to continue on. And I think that a lot of the top players probably would have come to the same decision that people like Brutal Democracy, Equinox, and Sonic Fox did in the end anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I think the most important thing to remember is that it's just really brave of people to come forward, especially since it does not seem like some of these were a surprise, which means that it's been going on in the community for quite some time. So I'm glad that A, people are taking this seriously, and also B, that it's particularly sad to see this from the fighting game community specifically, because I feel like because it's a lot more of a grassroots almost movement in and of itself, that you have so many like incredibly passionate people who do fighting games, and they come into it trying to find a home, right? And that's why you actually see a lot more widespread diversity in the fighting game community as well, which is something that I feel like it should be lauded for. But that also, because there's so little self-policing and control, that unfortunately it also leads to situations where people can be taken advantage of. And so I hope that the fighting game community continues to take this seriously and kind of stand with the victims that have come forward.
And I think Evo has a little bit of looking in the mirror to do in that regard. Last year at their after party, there were many allegations of sexual assault / harassment that occurred at the after party at Esports Arena Las Vegas at the Luxor. I remember walking up to that party and not going in, but walking up and seeing it was literally packed to the brim. It was like a can of sardines with the amount of people there. So like it's kind of just like the haven for like people to do that sort of things, and you can't do anything about it because it's just like you literally can't move. Right, and it's unfortunate. That should have been better controlled. And also with something other people have brought up in the wake of this is what happened with Infiltration. Infiltration, obviously a very high-known or well-known Street Fighter player, won Samurai Showdown actually last year at Evo, and was sued by his ex-wife in South Korea for alleged domestic abuse. And Evo did nothing about that, right? Like there was a lot of case documents that people had. He actually was released by Panda Global, his team at the time when all of that came out, how thorough, sort of her testimony was in the South Korean court case. And Evo didn't do anything about it. So, it seems a little overdue. They are the forerunner in all of fighting games in terms of tournaments. They are the one to beat no matter what game you're in. They are the world championship in games that actually have world championships like Tekken and Street Fighter. And so if you carry that much weight and gravitas around yourself, you gotta act swiftly. I was disappointed that they didn't do anything, open an investigation of their own about the after party last year, that they actually let Infiltration continue to compete. And it seems like now, like this is one of their co-founders, this guy that, like, if you know Joey, he ran everything at Evo. He was kind of like the, Tom and Tony actually sold their game studio to the other founders, sold their game studio to Riot Games and are Riot Games employees. And they're working on their own fighting game at Riot. So like their attention hasn't been as focused to Evo. So if you know Joey, he ran everything. This is the top guy. And like now at least a question, like, what if their inaction on on the previous issues, like, is because himself has had some misconduct in his past, as we have seen today. So there are a lot of questions here, but I feel like if you're Evo, you have to do something. And I hope that statement reads that this is the first of many steps. I hope that's right. I hope that there's more to come within Evo itself, because it seems like it's a little bit past due, in my opinion.
So the two major pieces of news here: Joey Queller will no longer be involved with Evo in any capacity. He was formerly president and co-founder of Evo, and Evo 2020 has been canceled. The last thing to mention here, and I will say this every time we cover news like this, is that for many people, Evo was a mark on the calendar. It was something they were looking forward to. It was somewhere that they go and be with their friends or be part of a community that they really wanted to be a part of. And that community needs to be welcoming, that community needs to be safe, and that community needs to be inclusive for everyone, for all races, for all genders, for all religions. No matter who, it should be safe and welcoming for everyone, with no threat whatsoever of any sort of harassment or anything nefarious. And so hopefully, with all of the speaking out that is happening in the esports and gaming community, we are taking steps closer such that events like Evo, that are looked forward to by so many people around the world, can get to that point where we all truly feel like it is a safe space and a safe environment for everyone that wants to enjoy it. Continued coverage will be available at espn.com/esports.